Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Jennifer Rose. This is where I am helping you use universal spiritual principles to help you solve everyday problems because we got them. We all got problems. Um, so if you find this information helpful, if you find it applicable to your life situation, I appreciate you stopping in and listening. And I also appreciate you helping me. So help me by subscribing to the channel. It also helps to leave a comment if you want some clarification or if you have a contradiction or you want to ask a question. You can do that in the comments. You can also write a letter to me if you'd like me to anonymously answer a question for you. I'm dedicating 2026 to taking questions and then answering questions. And I've got my email in the comment box. So let's go on ahead and get started. I did have a letter come in this week and I'd like to read it. I thought about it. It's just I really appreciate the person who wrote it in being willing to be open and vulnerable and just explain her situation and ask her questions. I think it's rich for us to move through. And I think that there's a message here for you. And even as I was like thinking about answering the questions, there's like messages for me. It's just like activating my own internal guidance, my own internal wisdom, my own great self. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there is an aspect or even a wholeness of your being. It's your wise self that knows more than just your little thinking mind or my little thinking mind. So as I'm, replying to the questions, I'm accessing the great self, the wise self to help us all. So let's get started. So this question is from Thanks for Listening. Dear Jennifer, I don't have a question as much as a concern. I think when I was a kid, around 12 or 13 years old, I did not like the idea at all of living forever. I was so exhausted with life, I just wanted it to be over and fade into black. I did not want eternity. I did not want to live forever. So she's talking about this idea, when we talk about in spiritual circles, we talk about we are one with eternality. And she's saying when she was 12 or 13, she didn't like that. She didn't want to live forever. She did not want to enter into eternity because she was so exhausted on a human level. Now, I don't feel exhausted by life and I don't want to die. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that. But I'm not sure I'm always comfortable being a beloved child of God as I should be. Like I can't live up to it. Okay. I'm bipolar and it could be depression. It's just that it's been with me my whole life. I guess I envy and admire the women in our spiritual Course in Miracles group who don't need to keep reaffirming their faith like I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm making myself reinvent the wheel. I should just have faith and be done with it, but I don't always feel it. Thanks for listening. Okay, my friend, thank you. Thanks for writing this in. As I was taking some notes, I've got my notes right here. As I was taking some notes on this question, and actually I started thinking about it a couple days ago because I remember there were times in my life when I was so exhausted just being in this world that I actually felt like if I laid down for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I would never, ever get up. Like that was so real for me. I had a deep fear of just even laying down and taking a break because I was just like, if I lay down, I'll never get up. So I felt like I had to, just keep running, keep moving, keep at it, girl. Don't stop or you'll never get started again. You'll just lay down and never get up. So I know that feeling of being exhausted by life. I know how that feels. I'm gonna start with like some practical things as we just talk about exhausted. You're saying you don't feel exhausted by life now, but while we're on the subject, let's talk about some things that you can do that I still do. I still do. Um, I get really clear on how I want to spend my energy. So, one of the hot tips I have, and I use this all the time, if someone asks me to do something, I have like a script. I always say internally, I'm like, I'm not going to say yes. So, externally, I say, hey, let me think about that. I have to check my schedule. Or I say, you know what? I'm not really sure. Let me check my schedule and let me get back to you. And then I take that time because it's always easier to say, let me turn that around. It's harder to say no once you said yes. It's always easier to say yes if you said no. So I kind of do like a soft no. That's like my soft no. Let me think about it. I've got a lot going on. Let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you. And then I can go back into myself and feel, um, do I want to do it? Do I even want to do it? Like a lot of people, do I want to do it? Whatever it is, go to a party, go to lunch, help someone, fill in for someone at work. Do I want to do it? Do I have the bandwidth to do it? Is it even possible in my schedule? And sometimes I've already got something scheduled and I'm kind of glad because then I can just tell them, no, I've already got something, I'm booked. And I keep it super simple. Oh, thanks for asking. I'm already booked. Usually that's the line I use um, for anything. I'm already booked. And I'm already booked might mean I'm spending time resting or relaxing or reflecting or doing my own workout. So that's on a practical level regarding the exhaustion and managing your energy. And then also on the practical level, um, so it's easier to say no first and then yes later. It's harder to say yes and then no later. Kind of recapping. Um, Another thing is that it's giving yourself permission to take breaks. Breaks are great. Breaks are necessary. Deep rest is necessary. I've got several yoga nidra meditations on this channel. If you kind of start to explore the channel, you'll see there's a lot of like A Course in Miracles stuff. I've added a lot of meditation practices. And then I've also added several yoga nidra practices, which are really this invitation for deep rest. So it's okay to take breaks. And then I like to work kind of in like 20 or 30-minute increments because believe me, my inside little girl, if I tell her she has to sit down and work 3 hours, even 2 hours, and she can't get up, she ain't gonna play that. She don't play that. She does not play that. So I have to really work. This is again just like managing my energy. I have to tell my inner little girl, I call her my little Jenny, little Jenny. I tell little Jenny, hey, we're just going to do this thing for like a half an hour, then we'll take a break. Then we'll see what's next on the list or if we're going to continue or we're going to move something from list from today to tomorrow. Or can we scratch it off the list completely? I never wanted to do that anyway. Scratch, 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 scratch. That happens too as I'm like feeling inside myself. Do I really want to? uh, do this rebate? Yes or no? So keep it on the list or scratch it off the list. So those are the things like 20 or 30-minute increments. Really keep checking in with yourself. This is all how do we manage exhaustion? How do we manage our energy in practical ways while continuing to connect with our inner guidance, our inner instincts, our inner instincts. And then one more note that I have here is, and this kind of bleeds into the spiritual end of it, is that my friend, thanks for listening. That's how you signed your note. You don't always have to be on. I truly believe that we believe growing up, I'm in the States, growing up in the United States, set in the 70s, 80s, 90s to now we're in 2026. I truly believe we've been programmed to believe we always have to be on. And if we're not on, whatever that means for you, it means something different for everyone. Um, something's gone wrong. There's a problem that has to be fixed if you are not on. So I had to deprogram myself and learn to accept myself. Learn to accept myself. And we're gonna get into that. Um, so one of the ways I deprogram myself is like when I go to when I would go to the grocery store, I would be like, It's okay if I'm exhausted. I can still go to the grocery store. I can drag my ass there and drag my ass back. There's not a problem. I don't have to be like, yeah, everything's great. I'm going to the grocery store. Like that's what I feel like on is. On. And even for me on a personal level doing these videos, sometimes I don't feel like my energy is like on, like, yeah, doing videos. So it's okay that you don't feel on. You can kind of be like low energy, low level energy, and still do the thing that you want to do. So that's one of the ideas that I want to share with you. And then also, and then this is going to get to the core of the letter, the core of what she's asking here. She's asking, she's not always comfortable being a beloved child of God, as I'm reading from the letter, as I should be, as I think I should be. So there's this, and then I'll quote it again. I can't live up to it. I don't feel like a beloved child of God. So how can I be a beloved child of God? And how can I live up to that ideal? And this kind of goes to like, you don't always have to be on. You don't always have to feel like a beloved child of God. There's no, there's no way a child of God, or I like to call it a child of love, should look like, act like, be 100% of the time. There's no body type or body color or bod mods. I talked about that in one of my other videos about anyways, about a grandpa with his granddaughter getting breast enhancement, these bod mods that we do. There's no experience of feeling or mental status that can delete your essence, who you really are, divine creation of love. Now, I get it. Like we're body identified. If I feel down, if I feel depressed, I'm not going to feel like I'm connected. And that's okay because it's really this practice of accepting yourself however you are, however you're showing up moment to moment to moment. And it's a practice because if you track your emotions and your experiences of yourself throughout a day, throughout a week, you'll see that you are a wide variety of experiences, of emotions, and of energy levels. You like journal yourself every, I don't know, let's say you did like an AM, midday, late afternoon, and then PM. You're like tracking how you feel. You'll see that you are a beautiful bouquet. You are a beautiful bouquet of experiences. And whatever you are experiencing, however you're experiencing yourself, does not delete, deny, destroy, disconnect you from the essence of who you are. Now, I understand that there's some people who seem like they're just like easy breezy. I'm beautiful and I'm loved by God. And oh my God, there was this woman who she used to work at Macy's, and she was, I think she was a Christian, and she wanted to talk a lot about it. And she was always just like, Jesus loves me all the time and everything's great. And I was just like, oh my God, how does she keep that up? How I want that. Like I want that. I wanted that. I wanted to feel like I don't have to keep reaffirming that I'm a beloved child of God, or that I'm loved, or that I'm connected, or that I'm one with eternality in the universe. I felt like I had to just work so hard at it. And that to me, I think contributes to the exhaustion. Now, if you start to notice your energies and your moods, and you start to see the evidence that you're a beautiful bouquet of all these different experiences of yourself, you're just watching yourself. You're like witnessing yourself without judgment, without deciding that there's a problem, without deciding that you need to change yourself. As you start to rest more deeply into the experiences of yourself, the okay, my lawn guy is, of course, he's mowing the lawn now. You might hear that. You might start to experience a little settling down of that. You should be different. You should be like that lady, that lady who worked at Macy's. Just everything's bright and shiny. But actually, we don't know what she feels like when she gets home from work. You start to calm down your self-judgment that things should be different, and you start to rest in who you are moment to moment to moment. And when everything starts to get quiet and calmer, you start to see or feel like glimpses where you're kind of just okay with yourself. You're kind of just like, at this moment, I'm going to give the example of resting on my couch, just laying there. Sometimes I put like a bolster, like I put a bolster up and I rest my legs over the bolster, and I stack some pillows behind my head, and I give myself permission to rest, and give myself permission to really realize that at the moment, there's not a problem. There's no problem with me resting. There's no problem with me taking a break. I'm learning to accept myself in the moment exactly as I am. And with that practice, and noticing moments, more moments, more moments, more moments where everything's just kind of cool. It's not up, it's not down, it's not bliss, it's not, I'm a, I'm divine and joyful and blissful. That was another thing that really got me. Like, I had to follow my bliss. You guys remember Joseph Campbell, who would be like, follow your bliss. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm just trying to get to the grocery store and back. I can barely follow my bliss. It was too big of a leap for me. However, when I started noticing just moments where I was just kind of content, just like content, I started to like grow my garden of contentment. And I just started calling it cultivating my contentment, cultivating my garden of contentment. When people would ask me how I'm doing, I'd just be like, oh, I'm just cultivating my garden of contentment. I'm noticing when I'm feeling content. And that's what I started doing. So accepting yourself exactly as you are, moment to moment, taking breaks, feeling your energy, tracking your energy, being aware of your energy and noticing that it fluctuates. Your energy, your moods, your emotions, your thoughts, they all fluctuate. They move and they flow. And then start cultivating. I'm like using my hands as like I'm digging my garden. I'm digging my garden and I'm planting my seeds of contentment. You start to cultivate your garden of contentment. And then more and more, as you connect with your inner contentment, so it's nothing outside bringing you these feelings, it's you being so interested and committed to yourself that you start to notice that as you feel more and more content, that you feel more and more connected. And that's it. That's it. That's it. Now let me just cut my eyes to the letter here. She says, I should just have faith and be done with it, but I don't always feel it. Yeah, that's that should. I should have energy. I should be on all the time. I should be a producer. I should be productive. I should. There's that. There's that saying, don't should on yourself. Don't should on yourself. And then start paying attention to yourself. Start paying attention to yourself in all the ways that I talked about, all the practical ways, all the internal ways, cultivating that garden of contentment. And then you'll notice that little by little, you start to feel more connected. And that's it. That's it. Okay, my friends, I hope this was helpful. You can always weigh in, in the comments and help me help you by subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much. See you next time.